So we did a whole bunch of work to this little Miata. Suspension refresh, coolant refresh, big brake kit, a whole bunch of other things. The build video for that's coming soon. Once we got all the work done, we took it to Autocross to test all the modifications, dial in some settings, and here's how that went. So the first thing that we dialed in was the brake bias. The big brake kit that we installed on the Miata came with a bias kit that attaches to the master cylinder. It's just a knob that you turn one way or the other and it adjusts pressure, brake pressure, front to rear. This Miata doesn't have ABS, so dialing that in so that we could effectively threshold brake without locking up the front, locking up the rear, initiating a slide or understeer was the first thing that we wanted to tackle.
Just do like one turn. Make me faster, Sam. The brakes feel great now, too. We've got the bias set. Yeah, the bias is perfect. I can hear the back kind of like doing its thing. Yeah, almost like ABS.
So once we got the brake bias set, we focused our attention on adjusting tire pressures. In the same way that we balanced front to rear braking pressure with the bias knob, we wanted to balance front and rear grip by adjusting the pressures in the tires, front and back.
It does feel good. Can you take a little bit of rear tire pressure out? What are we at right now? 32. Okay, yeah, just take it back down to 30. Yeah, it feels really good now. It's just, now it's just learning the car again. What was your fastest time?
28 and a half.
Nice, that's really good. That's really fast, like really quick out here.
That's probably one of the top times. It's not even a Tesla, but I can't remember now. There's a couple cars that were also 28, but not many.
So there were two autocross sessions that day, a morning session and an afternoon session. Between the two, we went for lunch and discussed the settings that we had landed on for brake bias and tire pressures. On our way to lunch, our friend Daniel suggested that if we still had some oversteer we wanted to dial out of the car, we might want to try removing the rear sway bar. We talked about that too.
The rear end was a little squirrely.
Yeah, it was. Because when it comes out now, I do feel like it was a little bit harder to catch than it previously.
Than previously, yes, but it's by no means difficult.
No, it's not difficult.
Like I feel like once you break kind of that 30-degree slide, it's not really going to come back.
Yeah.
But anything less than 30 degrees,
Yeah.
I think it's pretty catchable. That turbo reacts so well to throttle modulation.
Yeah, it does. Especially with how that one's set up. It just is really calm.
Getting rid of the rear sway bar.
Yeah, we're gonna disconnect one of the end links and see how she does.
Sounds like a plan.
Dude, it is night and day different. It's gonna blow your mind. Like it's,
Really?
yeah, understeer happens more than oversteer.
So you got understeer.
Yeah.
You want me to drop the pressures in the front?
Yeah, a little bit. Dude, that's fucking nuts. That's good. We got the bias set just right. Yeah. Got the rear sway bar disconnected. Yeah, and we got the tire pressure set. Yeah.
So yeah, things were looking pretty good. We had the brake bias set, we had the tire pressures dialed in, we disconnected the rear sway bar to calmed down the rear end a little bit. There was still a smidge too much understeer for my liking, but we counteracted that as much as we could by increasing the damping in the rear coilovers. By all means, it was time to start driving the car and getting a feel for how it's gonna act now. And then something happened.
The pipe came off. Yeah.
We're done.
The intercooler pipe came off.
We're done, dude.
I'm done. You can take over from here.
Now let's just call it. Sam, I don't think that's supposed to be an open hole right there.
I don't think so either.
Doesn't look like that's connected. That means this go shoo shoo shoo, and then it go blah blah blah. So we've blown off the intercooler pipe twice today. Once was on the way here on the highway, and then the second time we blew it off was on Sam's fourth run in the afternoon. We got the intercooler pipe put back on. I am now in the second run group running as a single driver. My neck.
Oh, I prefer the
Cut it off.
Chaz hit the pole. It'd be a bit.
Chaz hit the pole?
So Autocross is a great place to test your driving, test your car. It's a controlled environment. It's relatively safe, but anything can happen anywhere, anytime. And someone had an went off course, and that was the end of that day's Autocross event, which might have been a good thing for Sam and I and the Miata, because we learned something about the Miata suspension when we got back home. Ball joint. Apparently, if you don't know this, they are not serviceable. You're not supposed to press these out and replace them with new ball joints.
Yeah, it just didn't have the same amount of force.
Yeah.
It just doesn't fit in there quite the same after you press them out.
So we learned by hitting a nice little pothole that ball joint will pop out of there after it's been pressed in. So need to get whole new control arms. So yeah, we were super lucky that that loose ball joint didn't damage surrounding components or cause us to crash. But we didn't learn about that loose ball joint until much later. So let's return to the other mod issues and circle back to the loose ball joint towards the end of the video. They're coming to get you, Sam. They heard you've been racing around town. They're on their way to pick you up. Put you in the slammer.
Slammer.
For racing like a racer. Alright, so at Autocross, we blew off the intercooler pipe twice. Well, once at Autocross and another time on the way there. And so we're gonna use this nifty little roller to put a bead, a little flare on the charge pipe for the intercooler that blew off down in here. And so basically what you do is you stick the pipe in between here, right? And it depending on how tight you got it, will clamp and put a bead on the pipe as it rolls. Roll a little bead on it.
That worked out really well.
It really did. And the other one, I guess, is over here.
Yeah.
And we got a bead around half of it.
That would be the side that would blow off if it did.
Yeah.
So it would be pulling friction on that side. So it shouldn't leak. Like, very unlikely for it to leak. So this will still have a lot of force on that side.
Yeah. Yeah, so we got those metal pipes flared, worm gears changed out, and then something else that we learned at Autocross was that this thing has no understeer. Turn-in is fantastic, right, Sam?
Yeah.
Yeah, turn-in's incredible, but it's a little bit too much. Daniel gave us a nice little tip of just remove the rear sway bar, just take it off completely. So we disconnected that between the morning and afternoon series, and it did make a difference. There's still a little bit of understeer happening. I mean, understeer is better than like just crazy oversteer and unpredictable back end, but
on turn in it's really hard to tell. On exit I feel like I can really tell what's going on.
Yeah, but mid corner where it matters the most, the back end is unpredictable.
Yeah, you don't know mid corner and then on corner entry. Like, you know that you can throw the wheel and it'll turn.
Yeah.
It'll do that.
It'll
for
rotate.
Sure.
Sometimes it'll rotate too much, though.
Right now it is just slightly understeery, but you can make it oversteer. It's just getting that just a little bit more balanced, particularly mid corner. That's where I would say that's really where the understeer could get tuned out at, and that is what we're hoping to kind of fix is like
by going to, instead of no bar, stock bar. Stock rear bar and stock end links.
That's what I'm looking for.
Can we just use the upgraded end links with the stock bar?
Oh, there it is. There's my stock bar.
Found it?
Yeah, I found it. Dude, look how tiny this thing is. You can kind of bend it a little bit yourself.
Yeah, there's not much to that.
End links are in here. And it's out.
That's significant.
Yeah. I think that'll do what we want.
Third problem, in addition to the intercooler pipe blowing off and the rear sway bar, which isn't a problem, it's just backwards modification to a stock bar from an upgraded rear bar. This hub-centric ring on the front right wheel was giving us some issues.
Oh man, look at that, 73.1. 73.1.
Just an excuse for Sam to play with his measuring device. We need some aluminum. Under high stress situations, the brakes generate a lot of heat. That heat can actually melt the plastic rubbery type of hub-centric rings that come with most aftermarket wheels. That won't happen to aluminum hub-centric rings. Aluminum hub-centric rings are coming, and they're coming tomorrow. And then also some heat tape to cover up the brake bias kit. It was a little bit hot when we were adjusting it. And it is right by the downpipe, so we're gonna heat tape that up a little bit better. And then it'll be ready to wheels back on the ground, test drive on some mountain roads before Autocross in Charlotte, well, Concord, on the 19th, August 19th. Hopefully that'll make this car actually done. But Sam, we keep on saying it's done.
We did so much stuff to it over the past 6 months that there's no way we were just gonna like nail it first time and get everything right off the gate. Like, we had to go to Autocross and test the car and see what was not acting how we wanted it to. And then of course the intercooler pipe is it just happened. So we have to fix that. The other one is like, we just feel like the car would be more balanced if we have a not a strong rear sway bar to keep the back end like a little bit more stable. The only thing that would be even remotely worth it would be a spoiler if I went to a track. If I actually sign up for a track day, that would be the only time I'd actually do that. Eventually the motor will blow, so that's why I say it's not going to be done, or the transmission, one or the other. That's when work will have to be done on it again, but till then.
So yeah, we were feeling pretty good. The finish line was in sight. Everything had gone relatively smoothly up to that point. But that's when we noticed the ball joint that I mentioned earlier that had popped out of the front left upper control arm. I'm pretty sure I know when this happened. I hit a huge pothole on the highway on the way to Autocross. And I think that's what jolted that new ball joint out of the old control arm. Which, if I'm right, that means that we Autocrossed that entire day with a ball joint that was not properly seated. So we got really lucky that things didn't get damaged, and it's kind of amazing that we performed as well as we did. Anyways, all of that aside, it was disheartening to learn that because we were excited to put the car back on the ground. So we decided to just call it a day order some new control arms, and when they arrived, get back together and button up the car.
You got here quicker than I thought you would.
Yeah. That's why they call me Spreed McRevy. What are these control arms down here? Look at these bad boys.
Alright, time to press them out. Brand new bushings just going right in the trash can.
Sam, what's your plan for these?
The bushings?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna save them because they're just bushings. I'm just gonna put them right there.
Perfect. In this cabinet full of shit. Press those bushings out of there.
I mean, the only like positive to going with the polyurethane probably at this point with them being brand new is just the unsprung, not weight, but the
Oh, the tension.
The tension from them, yeah.
That's pretty much coming out, man.
I know it is.
You could probably pull it from there, but
Not yet.
well, you gotta press. You might. There it is. Yeah.
That's what you gotta do.
Just give it a little circle with the greasy thumb. You get it good to go. Yeah.
That helped. Yeah. Pro tip.
So we've got the new upper front control arms, and we had to pull the stock bushings that came with those control arms out of them with the press and put the new polyurethane bushings into the control arms. So now these control arms need to go in here. So they go in there like a fork, and then this big bolt goes through them, through this beam, and then they attach to the top of the hub right here with a ball joint. These seem tighter, like they're supposed to be a washer.
The washer's on the outside. The thicker washer is.
Yeah, but there's a thin washer that goes on the inside. It goes like this.
Yeah.
And to get this on the inside of here, no bueno.
No?
No. No bueno.
It's not gonna happen at all.
It's gonna take some struggles. We'll find out. We got the new control arm, upper control arm in, but there are little washers that are supposed to go in between the control arm and the chassis where it mounts to the front of the car. And these control arms are just a little bit too tight to add that washer in compared to the stock control arms. If it's okay to run it without washers on the inside, otherwise it's gonna have to come back apart. All right, so verdict is yes, it's fine to leave the washers off. And so Sam is
Just tighten stuff back up.
tightening everything back up.
Yeah, as long as that thing doesn't shift front to back, which there ain't no way that's going anywhere because it's so tight on there. It'll be fine.
So we got the stock bushings out of the new upper control arms, polyurethane bushings into the new upper control arms. We got those into the car, coilovers back in, changed the ride height, lowered it down a little bit in the front, added some heat tape around the brake biased knob, remounted the sway bar brackets, and put the wheels back on. I feel like I've seen you take this pipe on and off so many times. So yeah, there's the new heat tape job on the brake bias knob, because it is right by the downpipe. It gets pretty hot, so hopefully we'll be able to adjust that without waiting too long for the car to cool down. And other than that, it's back how it was. Ready to go back on the ground. Race! Yeah, give her a shove. Got her. Yep, she on the ground.
Yeah, the front looks better.
Yeah, you like that stance?
Yeah, that looks better.
Yeah.
It looks less of a squat, you know, more of a, that's a really good looking ride height, honestly. Oh. 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 It was a long, long day. Are you taking a shit?